Are authentic Kdrama stories. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications.
Raindrops patter down on the helmet. Seo-yeon sighed once more and looked down at the delivery app screen. The address on the screen was all too familiar. In room 1204 of Acro Tower. Daechidong, Gangnam-gu, Seoul. Kang Minjun mutters, again, while checking the delivery bag. It's been a week since I ordered 2 cup noodles and a triangular kimbap at 2 in the morning, 2 or 3 times a day. And on some days, even up to 4 times, orders come in from the same person. I thought the first 2 days were just a coincidence. I figured it was just overlapping delivery areas. But from the 3rd day on, it was definitely strange. When I asked other riders, they said it was the first time they had encountered something like this. On the 4th day, Seo-yeon called the customer service of the delivery app. The representative kindly checked the system, but the only response was, there are no special issues. On the 5th day, she went directly to ask the team leader. The team leader looked over Seo-yeon's delivery records and tilted his head. It's strange, but it's normal according to the system. Isn't it just that person asking frequently? But Seo-yeon knew this is not just a matter of frequent requests. It felt as if someone was deliberately sending her to that house. Today, Seo-yeon starts the engine of her motorcycle and rides down the familiar road. At 11 o'clock at night, the streets are quiet. She arrives in front of the Acro Tower, parks, and takes the elevator. The finger pressing the 12th floor button has already become familiar. The elevator doors open, and I walk down the hallway. Before ringing the doorbell of room 1204, Seo-yeon takes a moment to catch her breath. I don't know why, but I always feel tense when I stand in front of this house. With the sound of the doorbell ringing, the door soon opens. As always, a man with a blank expression appears. Kang Minjun, who looks to be in his early 30s, always wears a black hoodie. The gaze visible through the horn-rimmed glasses seems somewhat empty. Thank you for your order. Your delivery has arrived. Yes, thank you for your hard work. In a brief conversation, Minjun takes the delivery bag and closes the doors. It's always the same pattern. Seo-yeon lets out a small sigh as she turns around. Why does this person only eat delivery food? While waiting for the elevator, Seo-yeon checks the order details she received today, making sure it's just enough for one person. Instant noodles at 2 in the morning, chicken at 6 in the afternoon, and now a late-night snack at 11. She orders one serving more often on weekends. On rainy days, she always orders warm soup. Is this person lonely? Such a thought suddenly crosses Seo-yeon's mind. If there's one thing I've learned from doing delivery work for 2 years, it's to read a person's general situation from their ordering patterns. Households with families tend to have a high volume of orders and regular time slots. People who live alone have irregular habits and consume less. However, Minjun's case was a bit different. It was regular yet lonely. The next morning, Seo-yeon has breakfast with her mother. Her mother, in her early 60s, silently supports her daughter, despite worrying about her delivery job. 3 years after losing her father to cancer, Seo-yeon graduated from college, but started working in delivery because she couldn't find a suitable job. Mom, something strange has been happening lately. What is it? Deliveries keep going to the same person. Mother looks at Seo-yeon instead of ladling. The soup. How long? It's been over a week, 2 or 3 times a day. That person must be ordering a lot. But it's too strange. It feels like I'm the only one going to that house. Mother thinks for a moment and then smiles. Are you trying to see me? Or something? Mom! Seo-yeon waves her hands, her face turning red. But in a corner of her heart, those words keep echoing. No way, that can't be true. At 4 in the afternoon, a notification pops up on Seoyeon's phone. Room 1204. Again, this time it's a hamburger set. Seoyeon puts on her helmet with a bittersweet smile. A thought crosses my mind that maybe my mother's words might be right. No. A system error is more realistic than that. When I finished the delivery and stood at the door, something unusual happened. Minjun opened the door, hesitated for a moment, and then cautiously asked, "Do you know that deliveries only come to me?" Seoyeon was surprised and looked at Minjun. For the first time, he was the one to start the conversation. "Yes, I know, but I don't know why." Minjun blinked for a moment and shook his head. "I don't really know either. I guess it's just because I'm often asked to do it." "Do you ask him 3 times a day?" After the words were spoken, Seoyeon felt flustered, thinking she had been too blunt. However, Minjun smiled bitterly. "I can't cook, and since I live alone." Those words pierced Seoyeon's heart. Living alone. Seoyeon knows well the loneliness after losing her father. Coming home late at night to face an empty room. Watching TV alone during the holidays. "Then enjoy your meal." "Yes, thank you." The door closed and Seoyeon stood blankly in the hallway. For the first time, I became curious about a person named Minjun. Why am I living alone? Is there no family? Why do I eat delivery food every day? Since that day, subtle changes have begun. 2 days later, when Seoyeon brought the delivery, Minjun greeted her first. "It's cold today, isn't it?" "Yes, the wind is really strong. Be careful not to catch a cold." "Thank you." It was a short conversation, but Seoyeon turned around with a smile. The next day, Minjun handed over a warm cup of coffee. "You must be tired from delivering, so please enjoy a warm drink." Seoyeon took the canned coffee in a daze. It was the first time I received something from a customer while delivering. "Are you okay?" "Yes, I bought it from the convenience store." "Don't feel pressured." Minjun awkwardly smiled and closed the door again. Seoyeon looked into the canned coffee inside the elevator. It was still warm. "I just bought it. Could it be that they bought it to match the time? They would come." Seoyeon shook her head. "That's just too much. He's just a kind person." But that night, before going to bed, Seoyeon kept thinking of Minjun's face. Expressionless, yet somehow looking sad. Careful with words, but warm in tone. A person who knows how to consider others. Even while living alone, a week has passed. The conversation between Seoyeon and Minjun gradually lengthened. They talked about the weather today, recommended delicious restaurants, and shared warm but brief neighborhood news. One Friday evening, a heavy rain poured down. Seoyeon delivered through the rain, and by the time she arrived at apartment 1204, she was completely soaked. When she rang the doorbell, Minjun opened the door and was taken aback. "Did you get caught in the rain like this?" It suddenly started pouring rain. "It's okay." Minjun hesitated for a moment, then went inside and brought a towel. "Use this at least. I think I'm catching a cold." "Oh, it's okay." "No, please take it." The moment Minjun handed over the towel, his hand touched Seoyeon's hand. Both of them froze for a moment. Seoyeon felt her heart racing. Minjun seemed flustered and withdrew his hand. Then, yes, please be careful going in." Seoyeon, taken aback, hurriedly accepted the towel and turned around. Only after the elevator doors closed did Seoyeon let out a big sigh. My heart was still racing. "What is this?" Seoyeon placed her hand on her chest. That night, Seoyeon couldn't sleep. Minjun's face kept coming to mind. His expressionless yet warm gaze, the way he cautiously spoke, the warmth of the hand that touched hers as he handed her the towel. No way. Seoyeon shook her head while burying herself under the blanket. "This is ridiculous. It's just a customer." It's a strange situation where I don't even know why deliveries keep coming to me. But my heart didn't lie. The next morning, when Seo-yeon opened the delivery app and saw the order for room 1204, her heart raced. I found myself looking in the mirror while wearing a helmet and applying lip balm. Am I crazy? Even as she muttered to herself, Seo-yeon smiled. Minjun was the same. He waited for Seo-yeon to arrive. When I heard the sound of a motorcycle through the window, my heart raced. When the doorbell rang, I looked in the mirror and fixed my hair. The moment I opened the door and faced Seo-yeon was the happiest time of the day. Minjun looked down at his computer screen. The code was densely written, the algorithm of the delivery app, and the hidden line of code Seo-yeon rider ID forced assignment. Say4 made Minjun feel guilty. This is not right. It's a lie. But what if that hadn't been the case? Would I have been able to meet Seo-yeon again? 3 years ago, Minjun heard the news that his father had been diagnosed with cancer. Minjun, who had been solely focused on his work as a developer at a large company, finally realized how much his father had aged. Minjun fell into despair while taking care of his father, who was hospitalized. One day, he saw a woman in the hallway. She was pushing a wheelchair and smiling brightly. The old man sitting behind seemed to be her father. That smile looked so warm. It felt like a light in the midst of despair. Minjun could not forget the woman's face that day, but he didn't know her name or contact information. It was just a fleeting connection. A month later, my father passed away. Minjun couldn't even be there at the end. There was an important meeting, so I left the hospital room. And during that time, my father left this world alone. Minjun could not forgive himself. He quit his job and shut himself in at home. Thus, 2 years passed. Minjun barely made a living as a freelance developer. He didn't meet anyone and didn't go outside. He survived day by day by relying on delivery food for his meals. One day, while accidentally analyzing the algorithm of a delivery app, I gained access to the rider information database, and there I found her. The smile in Seo-yeon's profile picture was the same smile I had seen 3 years ago at the hospital. Minjun's heart raced. Will we be able to meet again? But how? Just because I place an order doesn't guarantee that she will come. The delivery area is different, and there are multiple riders. So Minjun modified the code. It was a selfish choice to ensure that any orders coming to his address would be assigned to Seo-yeon. He realized it was wrong, but otherwise, it seemed like we would never meet again. When Seo-yeon first stood at the door, Minjun thought he was going to stop breathing. Seo-yeon's face, without the helmet, was more beautiful than 3 years ago. He looked a bit tired, but still wore a warm smile. Minjun started placing orders every day from that time, even though it was a short conversation, just to see Seo-yeon and hear her voice. It was a reason for Minjun to keep living, but this was a relationship built on lies. Minjun knew that it would eventually be discovered, and Seo-yeon will hate herself. Chuseok is approaching. The day before the holiday, Minjun placed an order as usual. When the delivery of 1 serving of chicken and a can of beer arrived, Seo-yeon's expression seemed a bit different. With a somewhat worried tone, she said, "Your delivery has arrived." "Yes," Seo-yeon carefully asked, as she handed over the delivery bag. "Are you perhaps alone? During the holidays?" Minjun hesitated for a moment, and then he slowly nodded his head. "Yes, family. My father passed away 3 years ago. My mother left when I was young." Seo-yeon's gaze wavered. Minjun felt a pain in his heart. Seeing that gaze, he didn't want to be pitied. But Seo-yeon's next words were not sympathy. "We made songbyeon at our house, and I'll bring some to you tomorrow." Minjun looked at Seo-yeon in surprise. "Are you okay?" You don't have to. No, I've made a lot anyway. Spending the holidays alone can be lonely. Seo-yeon smiled brightly. Seeing that smile, Minjun felt his eyes welling up. Thank you. Minjun's voice whispered softly and trembled. The next afternoon, Seo-yeon visited room 1204 with the Songpyeon as promised. Minjun opened the door with a smile. Please come in. Are you okay? Yes, I was alone anyway. Seo-yeon carefully stepped inside a neatly organized living room, a bookshelf filling one wall, and a laptop placed on the table. Please have a seat. As Minjun went to the kitchen, Seo-yeon looked around the living room. A photo hanging on the wall caught her eye. A young Minjun and an elderly man who seemed to be his father were there. At that moment, I noticed the laptop screen on the table. It was turned on. The screen was filled with lines of the code. Seo-yeon doesn't know much about computers, but one line caught her eye. Seo-yeon Rider, ID Kontutum, for forced assignment made Seo-yeon's heart stop. What does this mean? Seo-yeon stared closely at the screen. The comment in English read, Force assign rider Seo-yeon to address 12-4 whenever an order is placed. In translation, it means force assign rider Seo-yeon to 12-4 whenever an order comes in. And Seo-yeon's face turned pale. Her hands trembled. What is this? I brought the car. Minjun froze when he saw Seo-yeon's expression coming out of the kitchen. Seo-yeon's gaze was fixed on the laptop. Minjun's face also turned pale. What is this? Seo-yeon's trembling voice left Minjun, unable to say anything. Is it because I've been assigned to this house continuously? Did you manipulate this? Seo-yeon, please answer. Seo-yeon's voice rose. Tears welled up in her eyes. Was it all a lie? Was it not a coincidence? Did you do it on purpose? Minjun lowered his head. I'm sorry. At those words, tears streamed down Seo-yeon's face. Why? Why did you do this? A chance to explain. Explain what? Seo-yeon placed the Songpyeon box on the table and turned around. Seo-yeon, please. Minjun tried to grab Seo-yeon's arm, but she shook him off. Don't touch me. Don't contact me again. Seo-yeon shouted as she ran out. The sound of the door slamming made Minjun collapse to the ground. I lost it. I lost it again. Seo-yeon took a break from her delivery job for a few days. I was even afraid to open the app. I just stayed at home and cried. It was all a lie. The chance meeting, the warm conversation, and the fluttering heart were all manipulated lies. What a fool I am. Seo-yeon buried her face in the pillow. Although my mother knocked on the door with concern, Seo-yeon did not go out. I received dozens of calls and messages from Minjun. Please give me a chance to explain. Please, just meet me once. I'm sorry. Seo-yeon ignored everyone. I didn't want to see or hear anything. A week has passed. Seo-yeon started delivering again because I had to survive. The first thing I checked when I opened the app was whether there was an order for room 12-4. There wasn't. While I thought it was a relief, on the other hand, my heart felt empty. Minjun didn't place an order either. No, he couldn't place one. The code has been reverted to its original state. I didn't want to torment Seo-yeon anymore, but Minjun couldn't forget Seo-yeon. Every night, her face came to mind, the tearful expression, and the eyes filled with betrayal. Were all things he had created himself. Minjun opened the drawer of his desk. There was an old photograph inside. 3 years ago, a photo taken in the hospital corridor was blurry, but the back of a woman pushing a wheelchair was visible. It was Seo-yeon. Minjun remembers that day. On the day my father was receiving chemotherapy, he was struggling so much with the side effects that Minjun was out in the hallway. As I sat down in despair, I heard a bright laugh coming from the other end of the hallway. When I looked up, I saw a woman walking while pushing a wheelchair when the elderly man in the wheelchair said something. She smiled brightly. That smile was so beautiful. It felt like a light to Minjun, who was in despair. Minjun captured that moment in a photo. Although the face was not clearly visible, the atmosphere and warmth were captured, and he endured. While looking at that photo, it was a difficult time taking care of my father. But a month later, he passed away. Minjun couldn't even be there for his father's last moments because he was away from the hospital for an important meeting. Minjun could not forgive himself. I quit my job and just stayed at home. I didn't meet anyone. I didn't go outside. I just endured each day. 2 years later, I accidentally accessed the rider database while analyzing the delivery app algorithm. And there, I found Seoyeon. The smile in the profile picture was the same smile from 3 years ago. Minjun was trembling, the hope of being able to meet again. But how? Will she really come just because I place an order? The delivery area is different, and there are many riders. So I modified the code. I realized it was a wrong choice, but I thought that was the only way. I didn't want to miss her again. When Seoyeon first stood at the door, Minjun couldn't really believe it was her. 3 years have passed, but it was still beautiful. They looked a little tired, but their smile was still warm. I placed an order every day. It was a short conversation to see her, but that was all for Minjun. It seemed like they were getting closer. Seoyeon also seemed to be waiting for herself, but the lie didn't last long. In the end, it was discovered, and Seoyeon left. Minjun looked down at the photo and shed tears. I'm sorry. Seoyeon, I'm really sorry. This week has passed. Seoyeon returned to her daily life, but her heart did not come back. While delivering, I glanced at the direction of a 1204 Cheon. There were no more orders there. On a rainy night, Seoyeon finished her last delivery. It was 11 o'clock at night, and as I was starting the motorcycle in the rain, someone was standing in front of me. It was Minjun. He was standing there completely soaked. I was panting. It seemed like they had run over. What are you doing? Seoyeon's cold voice made Minjun lower. His head. Please listen to me, I beg you. There's nothing to listen to. Seoyeon tried to put on the helmet, but Minjun said urgently, I saw you at the hospital 3 years ago. Seoyeon's hand stopped. My father has been diagnosed with cancer. He is undergoing chemotherapy and has been struggling so much. I couldn't do anything. I just sat helplessly in the hallway. Minjun's voice trembled. I saw you then. The sight of someone pushing a wheelchair and smiling brightly was the only light for me, who was in despair. Seoyeon slowly turned to look at Minjun. Seoyeon also remembered the time, 3 years ago, when she was taking care of her father. My father passed away a month later. I couldn't even be there at his last moments. I had to leave the hospital room for a meeting, and during that time, he went alone. Tears flowed from Minjun's eyes. I couldn't forgive myself. I quit my job and just stayed at home. I didn't meet anyone. I couldn't find a reason to live. Minjun, I lived like that for 2 years. Then I accidentally found you again. I wanted to meet again on the delivery app, but I didn't know how. Minjun looked straight at Seoyeon. Manipulating the algorithm was wrong, and I know it's a lie, but that was the only way I could meet you again. You were the reason I wanted to live. It was hard to tell whether it was rain or tears as they flowed down Minjun's face. Can we start over from the beginning? This time without an algorithm. This time for real. Tears also flowed from Seoyeon's eyes. 3 years ago, Seoyeon also struggled while taking care of her father in that hospital. I saw many people sitting helplessly in the hallway. Could Minjun have been among them? Fool, Seoyeon whispered. Softly, you should have said it earlier. Minjun lifted his head. Seoyeon was laughing while crying. I was curious. About you too. I wondered why you live alone. Why you look so lonely every time the delivery comes. Seo-yeon, the algorithm is wrong, but I understand your feelings. I also lost my father. I know that loneliness. The two people looked at each other in the rain and slowly approached each other. 6 months have passed. Seo-yeon found a new job. She was an editor at a small publishing company. It was more stable than delivery work, and her mother felt relieved. Minjun started working on development again. He joined a startup instead of being a freelancer. He started socializing with people. I found meaning in life again. The two still met often. Now, instead of a delivery, we cooked together every weekend as a couple. Minjun learned to cook from Seo-yeon, and Seo-yeon was happy spending time with her Minjun. The refrigerator at Minjun's house was filled with side dishes made by Seo-yeon. It was no longer delivery food. There was a photo of two people smiling together as the wallpaper on Seo-yeon's phone. It was a photo taken by her mother. One Sunday morning, Seo-yeon and Minjun had breakfast together. The rolled omelette made by Minjun and the soybean paste stew, cooked by Seo-yeon, are delicious. Seo-yeon said with a smile, "You taught him." And Minjun also smiled. The expressionless face from before has disappeared. Now I smile often. Minjun, did you really remember me since 3 years ago? I couldn't forget that smile. I don't remember it. It's okay. We can make new memories now. Seo-yeon held Minjun's hand. Thank you for finding me. No, thank you. Give me a reason to live again. The two of them smiled at each other. Sunlight shone through the window. It was a warm Sunday morning. The connection created by the algorithm had now turned into true love. You have been with the audio drama Authentic Kdrama Stories until now. At the end of your day, to always keep you warm, the Authentic Kdrama Stories quietly turns on the light again today. See you again in the next episode. Subscribing and liking greatly helps with video production. Thank you for listening.